Boys and gals, galaxies, shadow. Boys and gals, Shadows of the Galaxy is coming out in just under a month. We're pre-order ready. We've got a lot of content coming at you very soon. We've been a little sporadic with our content lately, but we have been just charting a course for all this amazing Star Wars, magic, and Lorcana content to come to you promptly. And I cannot wait to start this all off with perhaps what is the best leader in Star Wars as far as aggro, smash, just take out your opponent in less than 4 turns. Kylo Thick Daddy Swole Ren is coming to Star Wars Unlimited. Let's break it down. He's very aggro heavy. Going through some of the cards that we've got, his horizontal side, his leadership zone side, we've got as an action, discard a card from your hand, and we're going to give a unit +2/+0 for this phase, which is awesome because we do have some discard friendly cards as options for this deck. And of course, we're talking about Kylo's ride that we're going to be talking about in a little bit, his little 57 Chevy or whatever he has on the next slide. And so we're going to play Kylo Ren and hopefully get as much damage on the board as possible turn 3 or 4. So that way, when we claim initiative, the game's going to be over by turn 5 at the very most. So guaranteed turn when he flips, he's got a 5 and 4. And this unit gets a -1, -0 for each card in your hand. So a little bit of a penalty there, but you got to compare this with other turn 4 flips or deploys, Sabine Wren and the new Lando Calrissian, but they're not getting as much damage output. And even if we do have a couple of cards in our hand by turn 4, -2, a 3 power or 3 power striker is going to still get a lot of damage on the board. But we're going to also use this to actually do some dark side force abilities, which are going to be really fun. We don't know if we're getting a Ren's lightsaber. I've checked with the Council of Reddit, which I trust more than the Jedi Council personally, and we don't have a Ren's lightsaber yet, but anything in that +3/+3 category, like Fallen Lightsaber, is going to give us a lot of protection for Kylo, as well as a lot of damage output. Fallen Lightsaber, of course, is going to give us an 8/7, which is going to be insane. So if they don't have an answer for Kylo early on, the game's just about over. He's got to play around a lot of removal options. One of the funniest things to me is flipping over a Kylo way too soon. They have 3 resources, and he gets open fired and taken off the board. Doesn't feel great, so we got to play around our opponent and pass when absolutely necessary, just as a prerequisite in order to pilot Kylo towards victory. Also, he's got access to a lot of discounted force abilities that we're going to get into. 1 cost, Force Choke, and Force Throw. Got to get rid of some of their options in their hand. Maybe that is an open fire, so that is their choice in order to get rid of one of their better items in their hand versus a open fire to take out Kylo Ren. So another thing that he's going to be really proficient in is playing a lot of these new smuggle abilities, smuggle cards. We've got a few of those to go over. So first things first, though, we're going to have that player discard a card from their hand. Feels bad, but that's just a dark side ability, baby. You may deal damage equal to the cost of the discarded card if you have a forced unit. Really nice to get out early to give your opponent a little less options and also deal with their Sabine Wren or whatever 2-cost card that they have on their arena. We've got Force Choke, 1 less to play. Gives them a card, but hey, we still got 5 damage output. Really, really nice. And Force Lightning. It loses its abilities for this phase. And then if you control a Force unit, pay a number of resources, deal 2 damage to the chosen unit for each resource paid this way. which is really nice. It's got a lot of utility there. Plus, if we really want to be funny, or if it really matters in the game, we can force lightning our own guy, and then it loses that hand penalty. So if we've got a Boba Fett that is going to waylay a bunch of our stuff, we can force lightning our Kylo, still get 5 damage output, which is insane. All right, now we've got a couple of discard options available. Migs Mayfeld, if we're running red, which we are because of Kylo, he's a 2/2 for 2, and every time a player discards a card from their hand, you can deal 2 damage to a unit or base, and we get to do this once per round. So that's going to be a really nice 2 damage output, putting 2 damage on a lot of things like Sentinel abilities. We've got 2 damage on a lot of the ships have a power of 2 if they keep pinging our base. We want to take them down to 0 before they take us down to 0. So Migs Mayfeld is going to really put in the work for our team. And he's like a 2-cost me. You want me on the field. So bald redheads got to stick together. So we got Kylo's TIE Silencer, a really cool looking ship for 1. It's a 2/3 for 2, or 3/2 for 2. And as an action, if it was discarded from your hand or deck this phase, play it from your discard pile. And hello, we want to discard to get our attack strength up. So apply 1 to Migs. Migs also puts 2 damage on, and we can play his TIE Silencer from our discard pile. It's amazing value. It's free real estate. We've got Timely Intervention, also for green strategy. I was building my Kylo, and you'll see from our deck list what a green Kylo could possibly look like. Timely Intervention, you get to either play it for 1 or smuggle it for 2. Play a unit from your hand, give it ambush for this phase. And that's a really cool ability. So if we have 2 cards in our hand, play 2, that's more value for Kylo, and then we can also get more units on the field, possibly a Migs, possibly a Dengar to put a lot of our bounty cards on the field. A lot of these really low cost cards that getting our hand size down to 0 is really, really easy. But you can also smuggle these cards in and actually play them from Resource Zone. So you get to have access to these cards later without having a penalty from your hand limit or hand size. Among cards with this is if you're playing Cunning in your deck, like Chopper Base or something rather, you also have Greedo, which is really nice. You may discard a card from your deck. If it's not a unit, deal 2 damage to a ground unit. So we get value there. But also, if we so happen to discard a TIE Silencer, we can also play that from discard, which is, again, really, really cool. And then also a cheeky little card that may cost a little bit more because it is a light side card, but Bamboozle, you may discard a Cunning card from your hand instead of paying its event's cost. Instead of paying this event's cost. So there you go. You don't even need to pay the penalty. You discard a card. Also wrap around TIE Silencer. Hopefully we're playing 3 of them are in our deck. And exhaust unit and return each upgrade to its owner's hand, which is really, really nice, especially going against Sabine Wren, going against the Mandalorian coming out. A lot of these big units, maybe even a Chariot, will be really nice going against this strategy. And then coming up with our big cost unit, our legendary unit, we've got Jango Fett, which is going to be great with the bounty system. We've got a few bounties laid out. While attacking with a unit with a bounty, this unit gets +3/+0 and gains Overwhelm. So easily 6 damage coming out if you're putting your guild targets on units early, and then using your ECL or your energy conversion lab to bring Jango Fett out into the field and just start blasting, just wreaking havoc, doing that overwhelm damage, and you get to draw another card. Jango Fett really works, especially if your Kylo is gone, because it can happen. Jango Fett can ultimately end the game with a couple of guild targets, because when you put this guild target on, it's dealing 2 damage to a base, and if the unit is unique, deal 3 damage, and there's a lot of unique units in this game, so that is no hard task, especially for legendary Jango Fett. And then also for a little higher cost, you can put price on your head, and then it has bounty. Put the top card of your deck into play as a resource. So this one is going to be building into more long-term with Kylo Ren. If you don't want to deploy Kylo early, or if you're having him kind of be like the mini boss before a lot of your bigger stuff comes out. So we've got ambush mini bosses like Darth Vader and his ambush ability to bring more dark side units out onto the field. And then in order to bring Darth Vader back again, we've got Palpatine's Return. Somehow, some way, you get to play a unit from your discard pile. It costs 6 less. If it's a Force unit, it costs 8 less. Why would you put a Force unit into this deck? What Force unit could you possibly play? We've got our boy Poe Dameron. I know he was useful for something. So we've got Poe Dameron. You discard him early in the game, and then when you bring him out for free, he's got a lot of on-attack abilities. Discard up to 3 cards from my hand. For each card discard this way, choose a different option. Either deal 2 to a unit or a base, defeat an upgrade, or your opponent discards a card from their hand, which is amazing. So Poe Dameron is going to be a really an easy way to really stump your opponent and really throw them for the loop. It's got multi-abilities. And then we've got the Finalizer, so we can also play this for a measly 5 resources through Palpatine's Return. But again, we have to plan out for a longer game. So Overwhelm, great ability, especially with 11 power. Choose any number of friendly units. Each of those units captures an enemy non-leader unit in the same arena. So we're going for those win cons with Finalizer. Very high cost, but if you're playing a high cost game, might be worth looking into. And this is my deck list that I've been working on. The only changes that I think that I would make upon play testing is maybe the price on your head. It might be a couple of resources too much, maybe even putting it in with an aggression smuggle card. I know Hondo's got a sort of smuggler's card where you can attack with 1 unit, and as it's equipped with this card, give another unit +2. So we're going full attack mode, super high aggression. We've got our Jango Fetts, we've got Dengar. Whenever you put a guild target on a unit with Dengar on the field, you're pinging that unit for 1 damage. And one of the matchups that I found was kind of tricky before Dengar was put into this lineup was Boba Fett, because of his crafty smugglers. They're the worst, but not with Dengar. You don't have to fear, because throw a little trip mine on crafty smuggler, and all of a sudden the 2 threat is not a big deal. All right, and then we've also got Punishing One for a lot of those bounties. So once those units are defeated with bounties on them, Punishing One can do 6 damage each turn, which is kind of insane. So we're looking at this deck list. There's a lot of other little cheeky items that could be pinging your base from a resource zone. This deck is one of my favorites that I've played in the game so far, and couldn't make me more excited about Shadows of the Galaxy. Guys, check this out. Kylo Ren, leader of the First Order. He's going to bring it for another 3 movies unless you guys come up with a creative way to stop this guy. Whatever you think, let me know down in the comments below. And let me know if you like more lists like this and a lot more ideas we can share in the comments down below. Like and subscribe, and we will be here to bring you all the new content. Thanks.